Good afternoon, welcome to the Premier League shows, back again after an hiatus for the FA Cup. I'm Russ, the presenter, as always, and I'm back alongside my co-host Paul James, as this afternoon we look back, should I say, to some Premier League action from the weekend. Jam-packed match of action across the weekend. A lot of talking points and a lot of goal mouth action as well. Thank you very much for joining us, as always, here on the partner channels, which is the Commentary Hub, JB Sports, Commentary Hub 2, and Focus on Football. This is a Premier League review show, and we're going to review the matches that's coming up from this weekend. But before we get into that, let me just fetch in my co-host for this evening. And let's just say hello to Paul James. And Paul, this afternoon, should I say, and how are you doing this afternoon, Paul? You doing okay?
I'm good, thanks, Russ.
Good to hear, my friend, and always good being with you, Paul, discussing the weekend's Premier League action.
Looking forward to it.
Yes, and let's just, before we get into the action, let's look at the results from the weekend, and then we'll pick apart some of the action from some of the key games from this weekend's matches. So on Saturday afternoon, it finished Everton 2, Tottenham Hotspur 2 at Goodison Park. At the Amex, it was Brighton 4, Crystal Palace 1. At Turf Moor, which Paul saw on our partner channel JB Sports, with a JB Sports exclusive alongside JB, saw Burnley 2, Fulham 2. Newcastle 4, Luton 4 was the game of the weekend. What a match it was at St James's Park. Sheffield United 0, Aston Villa 5. Sheffield United changed the manager, but it doesn't look like the change of manager is working for the team at Bramall Lane. Bournemouth then on Sunday. Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 1. Chelsea 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 4. Manchester United 3, West Ham United 0. Arsenal 3, Liverpool 1. And then on Monday evening, it was Brentford 1, Manchester City 3, Phil Foden masterclass for the citizens there. Before we go any further, let's just take a quick look at the Premier League table, and Liverpool are top of the table, 2 points clear of Manchester City and Arsenal after their results this weekend. Aston Villa up to 4th, 3 points should I say, behind Arsenal, and Man City 2 clear of Tottenham Hotspur. Man United up to 6th with that victory at the weekend. West Ham sitting 7th, Brighton in 8th, Newcastle in 9th, and finishing up in the top 10 after their shock win at Stamford Bridge is Wolverhampton Wanderers there into 10th. Chelsea sits 11th, and the pressure is mounting on Maurizio Pochettino at Stamford Bridge. Bournemouth are in 12th, Fulham in 13th after their draw at Burnley, where Burnley came back from 2-0 down to get the draw there. Crystal Palace are in 14th. Brentford, after their defeat to Man City on Monday evening, sit in 15th. Nottingham Forest are 16th. Luton outside of the drop zone now. Fantastic point for them at St James's Park. They sit in 17th. And then the bottom three is Everton in 18th, Burnley in 19th, and Sheffield United in 20th. Remember, Everton are deducted 4 points for breaching P&S rules, and could be facing a further point deduction for breaching more P&S rules. And Nottingham Forest could also be facing a point deduction for P&S rules, which could affect their position in the Premier League table as well. So, let's move on to discuss some of these matches and talk about some of these games for you, and then know what happened in some of these games for you. So, on Saturday, the first game of the weekend in the Premier League was at 12:30, and it came at Goodison Park. Everton 2, Tottenham Hotspur 2, and what a game it was there. Richarlison opened the scoring on 4 minutes from a Destiny Udogie assist. Dominic Calvert-Lewin then assisted Jack Harrison to draw Everton level on the half-hour mark. 30 minutes was 1-1. Richarlison opened the scoring on 4 minutes. He then got his second and Tottenham's second with an assist from James Maddison in the 41st minute. That was 2-1 at half-time to Tottenham, but then deep into stoppage time, and I mean deep into stoppage time, for the 4th minute of stoppage time, at the end of the match, Jared Branthwaite made it 2-2. Sean Dyche, the Everton boss, got booked because it looked as though the VAR were checking the Everton equaliser, but VAR gave it. And later on in the programme, I'm going to praise VAR, Paul. And not many times on this show have I praised, or we've praised, Paul, the VAR team. But later on in one of the games, Paul, I've got to praise VAR because they made a very good decision, Paul, which is very unheard of from VAR, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice if they've got it all right for a change. Yeah.
Yeah, and they did later on. I won't mention which game it is right now, but listen out for it when I mention the game a little bit later on in the programme. Next up then was a game at the Amex Stadium, and what one-way traffic it was in this game. In the end, Brighton and Hove Albion won up after 3 minutes. Lewis Dunk scoring assisted by Pascal Gross. Then Inshulwood got on the act. Jack Inshulwood got on the act, assisted by Tariq Lamptey, before Facundo Buonanotte made it 3-0 on 34 minutes. Pascal Gross with the assist there, 2 assists for Pascal Gross. Inshulwood scored on 33 minutes. Buonanotte scored on 34th. It was then 3-1 when John Philip Mateta pulled one back for the Eagles on 71 minutes, set up by Joachim Anderson. But then Danny Welbeck set up João Pedro, and he made it Brighton of Albion 4, Crystal Palace 1, which was the result at the Amex Stadium. Next up is the game which you saw, Paul, and I've seen highlights of this one, and this seemed to be a very good game. I'll mention what the score was, and then I'll give you another 2 Paul, to give your overall thoughts on the game. It comes at Turf Moor. It was the commentary that we did over, or should I say you and JB did over on JB Sports, as an exclusive to JB Sports on Saturday afternoon. Jalpulini opened the scoring on 17 minutes for Fulham before Rodrigo Muniz made it 2-0 on 21 minutes. David Datro Fofana came on off of the bench in the 63rd minute, replacing Zeki Amdouni. On his debut, the defender signed from Rennes, Lorenz Assignon, teed up David Datro Fofana to score in the 71st minute to bring the game within 1 goal of each other. It was a brilliant lofted pass from Assignon to find David Datro Fofana. And then in the 91st minute, David Datro Fofana reacted quickly inside the penalty area to score with aplomb to give the goalkeeper no chance in the Fulham goal. That goalkeeper was Bernd Leno. He had no chance, Bernd Leno, and Burnley got a point in the second half. And the question I want to ask you, first of all, Paul, before you go into the game and give us your thoughts on the game, just a one-word answer, if you can. Was the point a fair result on reflection?
You can't give a one-word answer to that, Russ, because there's reasons why I think it was a fair result.
Which, what I'm going to say, Paul, is you can get into that when you get into talk about the game, but one-word answer, was the point a fair result on reflection, in your opinion?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you want to give us the reasons to why you say yes, and then your thoughts on the overall performance from Burnley and the overall performance from Fulham in the game on Saturday, please.
Okay, well, Fulham didn't take the chances, so if you don't take the chances, you don't deserve to win. They had countless chances in the first half to win, and they had a few chances in the second half to extend their 2-goal lead. Burnley made the substitution. Vincent Kompany made a good move in bringing on David Fofana, and he took both the chances that he had. So, in my opinion, it's a fair result at 2-2. As for the performance, I thought Burnley in the first half were defensively naive, unable to organise its back four. The substitutions were made at half-time and just early on in the second half, bringing on Esteve, and he was a new signing, of course, from Montpellier. I think he helped stabilise the defence a little bit. Lawrence Assignon got the assist, which was a really good cross to Fofana, right on the head of Fofana. So Burnley played very well. For Fulham, I think they played well for much of the game. I think they There was certainly nothing wrong with the build-up, and I think Fulham fans should be very happy with the performance. The only downside for Fulham, of course, is that they didn't take all their chances, and if they'd have taken most of their chances, they would have won the game comfortably in the end.
Yes, thank you very much. I agree with you, Paul. Fulham did have, from the highlights I saw, anyway, I think Fulham did have a lot of chances. It should have been at least, in my opinion, Paul, don't know what you think about this, should have been at least 3 or 4-0 by half time with the chances they had in the first half.
I would agree with that.
And then second half, they had the chances to kill the game off while they were still 2-0 and didn't take them. And Burnley, and we always mention, Paul, and I think I mentioned on commentary when we get on to the game that me and you covered on the channel on Sunday, that if you don't take your chances, eventually you're going to get punished. And it looked like that for one of the teams on Sunday in the game that we covered, which we'll mention a bit later on. But it looked as though that's what it was like for Fulham. They didn't take the chances and they got punished, with Vernon coming back from 2-0 down to earn what was, in my opinion, a deserved point.
Yeah.
So we'll move on now to the next game. And this is the game, Paul, where I said I'm going to praise VAR in this one. And JB, if you listen into this show this afternoon, you may want to lay down or sit down, should I say, while you're listening, because otherwise I think you'll fall down, because I'm going to praise VAR, which we all do not like to do, or we do not like in this game. So we'll touch on the goals first, and then I'll go into the one where I'm going to praise VAR. So Sean Langstaff opened the scoring for Newcastle United on 7 minutes. Ursher then equalised on Gabriel Ursher equalised for Luton on 21, set up by Carlton Morris. Kim Trippier set up Sean Longstaff. Sean Longstaff then made it 2-1 on 23 minutes. Then 5 minutes before half time, former Chelsea midfielder Ross Barkley made it 2-2 at St James's Park. On 59 minutes, Luton were awarded a penalty after a foul on Carlton Morris. After a foul on Chiedozie, or Benny Carlton Morris stepped up and converted it. On 59 minutes, 62 minutes, Ross Barkley, he already got a goal in the first half. He goes and gets an assist in the second and sets up Elijah Adebayo, who made it 4-2 to Luton Town. Kieran Trippier then scored from a Bruno Guimaraes assist to make it 4-3 to Luton. But then Harvey Barnes set up by Lewis Miley. And Lewis Miley, Paul, before I get into the reasons on VAR, he's a fantastic player. He's a good young player for Newcastle, and he impressed me in this game when I watched it in full later on Saturday evening, because I couldn't watch it while it was live because it was out of another match in the Championship, one against Southampton. I think Southampton could be on the way back, and we could be reviewing them in the Premier League review shows next season. Harvey Barnes took his goal well and made it 4-4 on 73 minutes. Now, are you sitting comfortably, Paul? Because I'm about to go into why I'm praising VAR in this game. So, it comes for the Luton Town penalty, which they got awarded for foul on Chiedozie Ogbene. So the challenge was from Dan Burn on Chiedozie Ogbene. The incident happened outside the area at first, which, as Dan Burn was pulling on Chiedozie Ogbene's arm as he tried to get away down Luton Town's right, Newcastle's left. He then continued inside of the penalty area, and he was still pulling at him. He let go just as he was getting into the box. Then he grabbed hold of him again and started pulling at him again and pulled him down inside the box. So he started outside, continued as he went in to the penalty area. The last touch was inside the penalty area, and he pulled it down. The referee Thomas Bramall gave a free kick outside and gave a booking for Dan Burn. Obviously, the yellow card stands because there's no double jeopardy rules for that because it wasn't clear and obvious goal scoring opportunity because it was coming in on the angle wide rather than centre a goal. But the incident continued into the box and VAR got his spot on because it was a penalty for Luton Town, should have been awarded. Thomas Mummel gave a free kick outside. VAR overturned the decision and gave a penalty because the challenge continued inside the penalty area. So that was good use of VAR there at St James's Park on Saturday. And Paul, this is the first time on these shows I've actually used the words good showing from VAR when talking about a Premier League match.
Yeah, it's I didn't see the game, so but that's good to see that they're finally getting things right.
Yes, they're finally getting things right, Paul. And a lot of people have come under scrutiny. The VAR has come under scrutiny in recent weeks from a number of people, not just myself and Paul or anyone here on the commentary hub, but also people in the actual media, the likes of former Liverpool defender Jamie Carragher, Gary Neville, formerly Manchester United in England, Roy Keane as well, another former Manchester United player. They're some of the players who have said VAR is not working and criticised it at times, especially Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville on commentaries and working in the studios. And we've said it as well, with the likes of Shearer and Wright, who have mentioned it on Match of the Day as well. So it's actually finally good to see something where VAR gets a decision spot on, isn't it, Paul? Especially after early parts of the season where there were controversies in some of the matches, especially one involving the Burnley game against Luton a few weeks ago as well, which both you and JB thought it shouldn't. The Luton goal shouldn't have stood against Burnley, where I thought it should. So there's decisions like that where some people may think they should be okay. Decisions should happen, and VAR doesn't think so. So I can understand that there, Paul. But you can see now VAR getting things right, which it could only, if they continue to get stuff like that they did on Saturday, it'll only improve the game, won't it?
Yeah, more than likely, yeah. You hope so, but these things just, I don't know if these things ever end up going the right way, to be honest with you, Russ. It's an oddity for sure. And the fact that it's an oddity tells me that it's a good reason why it should be done away with, to be honest. But that's just my view for what it's worth.
Yes, we'll move on, guys, to our next match, which was at Bramall Lane, and Sheffield United changed their manager in Paul Eckingbottom and fetched in Chris Wilder in the hope of a great escape for the team playing at Bramall Lane. However, he's not gone to plan so far. Didn't go to plan on Saturday evening as well. They played Aston Villa at Bramall Lane and they were 4-0 down inside 30 minutes. John McGinn, Ollie Watkins, Leon Bailey and Yuri Tillemans put Villa 4-0 up. And then just a couple of minutes after the half-time interval, Alex Moreno made it 5-0 with a superb goal as well, set up by Ollie Watkins. That was his second assist, a goal and 2 assists for Ollie Watkins. He also set up Leon Bailey, Douglas Luiz with the assist for Ollie Watkins' goal as well. And Ollie Watkins was involved in the John McGinn goal as well. His effort was saved and then come back out to John McGinn, who followed up the rebound. He did have a goal disallowed for offside in stoppage time when Vinny Souza thought he pulled one back in the 91st minute, but he was offside in the end there. And so the game finished Sheffield United 0, Aston Villa 5. Before we move on now, I'm just going to mention that we've got a game coming up on Wednesday evening to tell you about, and it comes from the FA Cup. Aston Villa are involved. They take on Chelsea in the FA Cup for a place in the 5th round of the FA Cup. They will play the winners of Plymouth, Argyle and Leeds United. They both play their FA Cup. We play on Tuesday, but on Wednesday we'll have coverage of Aston Villa versus Chelsea. We'll be on air for that one at, if we just tell our listeners what time we'll be on air for on Wednesday evening, we'll be on air at 7:50 for that one. Kickoff is at 8 o'clock. And Leeds Plymouth is on, or Plymouth Leeds is on the terrestrial TV if you like to watch it in the UK, or find out where you can watch that game on this evening if you want to see that game. Right, moving on to our next games that we've got to review, and it comes at the Vitality Stadium. Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 1 is where we will start. There's a moment in this game which I wanted to get your opinion on, Paul, if I may, when I get to it. But we'll first of all touch upon the goals. Justin Kluivert to open the scoring on 5 minutes, set up by Lewis Sinistera to give Bournemouth a 1-goal lead. Callum Hudson-Odoi then equalised just before half time. Then this is the moment where I want to ask you about, Paul. In the 84th minute, Phil Billing was sent off in the 84th minute after the referee, Rebecca Welch, showed him a straight red card in that one. Before I get your opinion on this, I just want to read out a comment from former Premier League referee Paul Keith Hackett, who gave his view on the red card on Facebook earlier today. I'm friends with him on Facebook. He said yesterday, what a position from referee Welch, send off Bournemouth Billing. No way that was a challenge that fulfilled the requirements of the law, not even close to serious foul play. Why no VAR intervention? He then put out as well, I expect Bournemouth to appeal the red card issued to Billing today. It was a reckless challenge and the sanction is yellow, not red. There was no reason for excessive force or brutality in the foul for it to become serious foul play. And now by referee Rebecca Welch in only a second Premier League game. Now, you saw this game yesterday. Also, I said you saw this game on Sunday, Paul. What did you make to, first of all, what did you make to the red card? Do you think that Phil Billing, like Keith Hackett says, should not have seen a red for his challenge? Or do you think he was a red? Just kind of what he said over when I was listening to you over on Football Live.
I mean, it's debatable. I felt it was a red because the studs were up. And whenever you raise your studs up, you're always asking for trouble. I felt it was a red. I mean, I will always bow down to someone like Keith Hackett because he's a fantastic referee. But in my opinion, it was a red in my opinion, just because of the fact that the studs were up and the contact was made.
Yes, before, and then also today in the program that I watch on one of the TV channels, they have a program called Ref Watch. People will know which channel I'm on about when I mention Ref Watch, with the referee Dermot Gallagher, so you'll know him on about as well, Paul, when I mention him. I'm sure he was speaking about this incident as well in Ref Watch. And then we'll touch on another incident in one of the other games from Sunday as well. So he touched upon the Phil Billing red card incident. He says, incident, Bournemouth had Phil Billing sent off for catching Callum Hudson-Odoi on the eel. Dermot Gallagher says, red card, Rebecca Welch is in a really good position. I don't think Billing means to do that. I think he goes to break up a promising attack, but gets it wrong. He does get it wrong because he rakes down the Achilles. It's not nice. I think he's going to trip him. One of the criteria for sending off is seriously endangering the safety of an opponent. The player had to leave the field and couldn't continue. There's another incident in the game as well, but that's what Dermot Gallagher said as well. The other incident as well, Paul, which I want to get your thoughts on, was, and I saw this earlier when I was watching the programme, Justin Kluivert ordered on a booking called Nicholas Dominguez, who avoided a second yellow card. Dermot Gallagher said, whether the ref is too close and doesn't see it, I'm not sure. She hasn't got the best of view. I think he's lucky. Jay Bothroyd, the former Cardiff striker, and I think he played in the Premier League for Wolves as well, said, I think he should have gotten another yellow card for that. What did you make of the challenge by Justin Kluivert or Nicholas Dominguez, Paul?
Yeah, he probably should have got another yellow card, but Nicholas Dominguez didn't help himself because he jumped straight up and started waving his hand in the face, gesturing a yellow card. If I was a referee and any player had done that to me, I would have showed them the yellow card too. Nicholas Dominguez would have been just as well staying out of it, and that might have had a different outcome.
Yes, and now, Paul, do you just want to give us your overall thoughts on the game between Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest, please?
It was a pretty decent game. Bournemouth had Nottingham Forest had most of the chances after Bournemouth scored. Two chances for Taylor Wanyi, a chance for Yates, and also a couple of chances for Bournemouth as well. Half chances for Lewis Hall. It was all in all. It was, to be honest with you, Forest did not take the chances in the first half. When Callum Hudson-Odoi did get the equalising goal, it was a really nice finish. Really good goal. If you haven't seen the goal yet, I recommend that you watch it. But Bournemouth made a bit of a Horlicks in clearing it, and Hudson-Odoi picked it up on the edge of the area and curled it past the goalkeeper and the goalkeeper's left hand palm. But I think all in all, the second half, the entertainment died down a bit and it became much more scrappy. I think 1-1 is the right result.
Yes, thank you very much. There, Paul, will bring you back in just a moment or so, on when we move on to a later game, which we both covered yesterday for all of the channels on our partner channels. So commentary up 2, JB Sports and Storm, and focus on football. We didn't go on Storm FM for the game that I'm going to mention in a few moments' time. But the next game I'm going to mention is a game which one of our colleagues, Kieran Riley, will be very much smiling about all yesterday, and be put all Sunday, and he'll probably been smiling about all day yesterday as well. Chelsea 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 4. Cole Palmer up in the scoring for Chelsea on 19 minutes at about Moises Caicedo. Mateus Cunha then equalised on 22 minutes, set up by Yao Gomez, before Axel Disasi own goal on 43 minutes. Put Wolves 2-1 up at the break. Mateus Cunha then scored his second of the game in the 63rd minute, set up by Pedro Neto. Mateus Cunha then scored from the penalty spot in the 82nd minute to complete his hat-trick. 82 minutes on the clock there. 86 minutes on the clock was when Thiago Silva pulled one back for Chelsea in this game. And I want to say this as well. This is a good stat which I found out yesterday as well, Paul. We got on Sunday, should I say, regarding Mateus Cunha. And Mateus Cunha scored his first Premier League hat-trick and his first for any clubs in scoring a treble, which is also another word for an hat-trick, or 3 goals, for FC Sion in May 2018. And it took to the 4th of February for him to get another hat-trick. So what a fantastic bit of news then. What a stat that was that I found, which was I found very interesting indeed there yesterday. Or Sunday, should I say. Right, next game up comes from Manchester United against West Ham United. Manchester United opened the scoring on 23 minutes through Rasmus Højlund, set up by Casemiro. Man United were then 2-0 up just after the break. Bruno Fernandes set up Alejandro Garnacho on 49 minutes. Manchester United then scored a third in 84 minutes when Scott McTominay, who came on for Kobe Mainoo, who had a fantastic performance yesterday on Sunday against West Ham. Well, Alejandro Garnacho made it 3-0 in the 84th minute. And what we'll say as well is if you get a chance, guys, go and search up the United Stand on YouTube. That's the United Stand. And go and have a listen to an interview that they did over there. A friend who will watch over there, Mark Goldbridge, he did an interview with Rasmus Højlund about joining Manchester United and stuff like that in his time with Manchester United as well. Go and have a check of that. It's a really good watch. I watched it a bit early. Really good watch. That's a really good interview. So if you want to go check that out, search for the United Stand. After you've listened to this, and go check out that interview with Rasmus Højlund speaking with Mark Goldbridge. Next up is the game, Paul, which I'm going to talk about, which me and you did commentary on. And this is the game where I said, if you don't take your chances, you're not going to win. Liverpool didn't have many chances in the game, and they didn't win. Also, didn't take many of their chances in the first half, and I thought they're not going to win this as well. Liverpool only had one shot on goal in the entire game yesterday, or Sunday, should I say, but they went to go behind through Bukayo Saka on 14 minutes. Gabriel made it 1-1 on 45 plus 3. Gabriel Martinelli made it 2-1 in the 67th minute. Bruno Canate sent off in the 88th minute for a second bookable offence. His first one was in the 55th minute. Then in 90 plus 2, Leandro Trossard sealed the victory for Arsenal when Jakub Kiwior set up the Belgian. Just on the 2 yellow cards for Canate, we at the time yesterday, Paul said it was a deserved red for Bruno Canate for 2 yellow cards. You can have no complaints. Dermot Gallagher touched upon this on Ref Watch, and he said he was sent off for 2 yellow cards. First for pulling down Havertz, and the second for a foul for a block on Kai Havertz as well. Dermot Gallagher says, "Can you have any complaints?" I said no. The first one, he wrestles him to the ground. On another day, if Virgil van Dijk hadn't been back, was he denying him a goal scoring opportunity? Certainly a yellow. For the second one, Havertz doesn't do himself any favours, clutching his head, but he deliberately blocks him off. Jay Bothroyd, on the other hand, says, "I'm not sure about the first one. The players are coming together. He's pulled him slightly, but I'm not sure if that's a yellow. The second one, definitely." There was another incident in that game, which I'll touch upon in a minute, but the Ibrahim Konate one, Paul, 2 yellow cards. What do you reckon about that?
Yeah, that's the right decision. I think both of them were yellows. And regardless, you mess around like that when you're on a yellow card. I've said this many times. If you're on a yellow card, you need to be very, very careful what you do if you want to stay on the pitch. If you're going to go and make no attempt to win the ball and challenge recklessly, expect to get a second yellow card, because that's the reason you got the first yellow card. It's pretty simple. It's pretty logical. If you don't attempt to get the ball, you get a yellow card. So what do? You don't do that again. Otherwise, you're going to get a yellow card, because you have to expect consistency, right, from the referee?
Yeah, you do, Paul. And not many referees give consistency these days now, which I'm a bit surprised at. Well, I'm not surprised. I'm a bit annoyed, actually, I'd say. Right. There was another incident in the game where we talked about it on commentary, where we thought Alexis McAllister bumps into Kai Havertz and knocks him down in the box. At the time, we both said no penalty and no foul was given. This is what Dermot Gallagher had to say. The referee's got the best view. He waves it straight away. I think Havertz comes across him and almost puts his legs between McAllister's. That's where they tangle and come together. Once the referee has said no, the VAR will never get involved. From the Leeds ladies, striker Sue Smith says, "I thought it was decent defending. I thought it wasn't a penalty, that one, Paul, between when Alexis McAllister knocked down Kai Havertz." What did you make Twitter, Paul? Because I think at the time he wasn't sure, but what are your thoughts on it now?
Is that the one in the second half?
Yeah, that's the one in the second half, yes, Paul.
Yeah, because I think I initially said it was a penalty. I felt it was because the contact was made on Havertz before the ball was won. But I mean, again, it's one of them, isn't it? You're going to get. I think Havertz goes down very, very easily, and I think part of Havertz's problem is he does go down very, very easily on a regular basis. So it's sometimes difficult to have sympathy with him because he does go down easily all of the time. So
yeah, maybe that's why I wasn't. Maybe that's why I wasn't given. Maybe the referees know that he goes down very, very easily, and that's probably why it wasn't given.
Well, it was never going to get given anyway because it wasn't clear and obvious. So VAR really weren't going to get involved one way or another, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely, Paul. There was never clear and obvious. Now on to Monday night's match. Brentford 1, Manchester City 3. Neil Maupay opened this one on 21 minutes. It was a long ball over the top from Mark Flecken. And then Maupay finished off nicely. It was a goal kick from Flecken, and Maupay went onto it, finished off nicely. 1-1, 1-0 the scoreline there. It was 1-1 on the stroke of half time when Phil Foden levelled. Phil Foden grabbed his and Manchester City's second in the 53rd minute, set up by Kevin De Bruyne, before Erling Haaland set up Phil Foden to complete his hat-trick with 20 minutes remaining. And that was the full-time scoreline. And I think, Paul, in that game, I think I cursed Mark Flecken and Brentford because in the first half, around about the 24th minute, I put into our group chat that we've got, Mark Flecken is having a great game so far for Brentford. That was when the score was 1-0.
Well, it was never going to stay 1-0.
And I think I cursed him.
It was never going to stay 1-0. City, it's very difficult to beat Manchester City and maintain a lead against them. They've got so much attacking capability, so much creative capability. It was only going to be a question of time. And that's the reality of it with Manchester City. They are the best team in the world, in my opinion. And they are very, very difficult to beat. So it was always going to happen, in my opinion. Brentford, of course, on the greatest of runs right now as well.
Yes, absolutely. Paul, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Let's just take a quick look at the Premier League table again just before we go. Sheffield United, Burnley and Everton make up the bottom three. Everton with that 10-point deduction. Your top four, it looks as Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Aston Villa. Pressure mounting on Mauricio Pochettino at Chelsea. But Chelsea fear that if they are to make a change, they could be breaching. They could be well on the way to breaching the P&S rules in the Premier League. Thank you very much for listening to the Premier League Review Show here on the Comment Chub, JB Sports, Comment Chub 2 and Focus on Football from all of the team here. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you again in the not so near future. From all of the team here, it's a goodbye for now.